So welcome everyone. My name is Scott Goldie. I'm a product marketing manager here at Dejero. Just wanted to thank you for joining us for the live demo that we've got starting up here in a minute here with Dean Taylor. You can see him on the screen. So I'm going to be facilitating today's session. Dean is joining us live from his vehicle in a unknown remote area of Mississippi. He's going to use Dejero's blended connectivity solution to communicate confidently in real time with us here using high quality video. He's going to do a few cool things for us while he's doing that demo. But before we get started, I just wanted to go through a couple of housekeeping items. Number one, this webinar will last approximately 20 minutes of live video with Dean, and we'll leave lots of time for questions at the end. If you do have any questions during this session, feel free to just raise your hand inside of the app here, the Zoom app, and we'll answer them as we go. You could also type the questions in the chat, and one of our panelists here will respond. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Dean to introduce himself, and we'll get underway.
Hey, thanks, Scott. Hey, everyone. As you can tell, I'm sort of switching between cameras. I'm going to try to do a few things that I haven't done before. One of them is I do have a UAS up in the sky. And the reason for that is that when we were talking about this short presentation for you, we were talking a lot about, how we would want to see video in use in the field. And what really came up quite a bit of the time is the big three, right? It's UAS programs, it's body-worn cameras, and to some extent, it's in-car camera video. So, as Scott said, I'm in a remote location. The one thing I want to let you know is that for this 20 minutes that we're together, I do want to answer questions as we go along. I will stop a couple of times along the route to sort of show you where I'm at and have some kind of conversation about the level of connectivity here. I'm going to get my phone out and actually show you a speed test while we're driving. But first, let me get this thing on the ground here so that we can get on the road. So give me half a second to shut this down. I'll switch to, I got a camera facing out the front. We're going to get on this road here and get going. So the big three, what we talked about. First of all, UAS programs. UAS programs are growing throughout the United States with drone as first responder. And what we're hearing from our customers and the people we talk to out in the field is there's a lot of connectivity issues. And, some of it happens because of the area. Others happen, because of the needs of the video. And so with that, that's number one. The other one that's happening quite a bit is, body-worn camera video. And when we talk about body-worn camera video, it's related primarily to those real stream applications or those live streaming applications that deputies, first responders, LEOs all want to have so that their command centers can see it in the immediate moment, not just having it happen when there's, the mobile command center arrives. So that's number, two. And then lastly, in-car camera video, which you're looking at right now, which is important for a lot of agencies to document what's going on in the field. And, again, what I find that a lot of agencies want that video now. They don't want it 10 minutes from now. They want it right away. So let's get on the road. I'll talk and drive. Again, I want to let you know if there's any questions that you have. Feel free to ask them as we come along. So Scott, I'll let you be the moderator because I don't want to have to write myself driving. So
you got
it. I'm currently in an area that's pretty poor connectivity, and we chose this route on purpose so that we could have a route that shows you, how bad this connectivity is. And to be honest with you, this particular road, I won't tell the team on the phone, but I didn't drive this road the other day. So this is an experiment as we continue on, but I can guarantee you when I stop and pull over and show you the connectivity on my phone, you're going to see very, very, very poor connection and poor speed tests. And how are we accomplishing something other than an SD-WAN? Well, we're doing that by combining multiple SIMs. In this case, we've got FirstNet and we've got Verizon. You can also add low Earth orbit satellite. You could add other satellite if you wanted. Some of the successes we've had are with obviously Starlink and OneWeb. I do have a spot I want to pull over and do a speed test. Scott, you got any questions you can fire at me while I'm driving?
Yeah, I've just got a couple come in, and you were sort of touching on this as you're driving, but how is it that these Dejero products are ensuring connectivity in a remote or a challenging area like what you're demonstrating right now?
So, you know, in incident command system, we use the term PACE, and Rory brought this up recently. It's, you know, primary, you know, you've got your alternate, and then you basically have a contingency and you have an emergency, right? And so primary is the first SIM, alternate is your second SIM, contingency is what do you do if both those SIMs fail? So what we do is we switch back to that camera. What we do is we intelligently combine all the sources you're throwing at us. In this case, like I say, it's two SIMs operating simultaneously. It's not a fail over, fail back. It's taking those two devices and blending them into one smart connection. We call that smart blending. But in some cases, you could add, for instance, with CAL FIRE, the conversations revolve around OneWeb or Starlink. And the reason for that is that those can be brought in to our connectivity on in a WAN environment. Just you plug it in, it starts blending with the existing mobile cellular connectivity that you have. Does that make sense?
And yeah, and so just to clarify that, Dean, like what you've got set up there right now is our Gateway 3220 model where you've got two network SIMs in there, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. This is, you know, look, at the end of the day, we're not trying to replace a mobile command vehicle that rolls out at an important scene, right? You know, you already know that that's going to take a while to get out there. What we're talking about today is what do you do in the first 15 minutes of a situation? You know, what can you do? How can you get the same kinds of needs once you get that bigger asset out there? And what we're seeing more and more agencies gravitate towards is, you know, replacing their in-car single SIM connection, you know, call it a wireless router, whatever you want. They're replacing those with something that has a bigger pipe. Oh, hey, I brought my straws. I'm sure you're happy with that. So each one of those connections represents a single connection, like a, you know, Verizon or a FirstNet or something like that. And then this outside is the size of the pipe you want. So how our thing works, let me pull over. I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I'm not doing stupid stuff on the road here. It's fun and all, but so our device is about the size of this outside pipe, right? When I retired out of law enforcement, I wanted a visual way to represent this. So each one of these SIMs represents sort of the size of the throughput connection you can get in that device, right? So what we do is we take all of those. In this case, there's two and the option for others, but we put it in that pipe so you can intelligently manage all that data just in one single. I think I didn't touch on body-worn cameras. I'd love to do that. Scott, do you have any other questions before I do that, or?
Yeah, I've got a couple here. So just as we go, I can throw them out at you.
Yeah,
One
please do.
question that just came in, how does the blending work? And can you mix any networks? And then kind of a part of this is also, are you using satellite as you drive?
Okay, so let me answer the last part of the question first.
Sure.
So I'm not using any satellite today. We just Dejero partners with many groups that have satellite. I couldn't find one to throw in the truck. Otherwise I would have with the drone and whatnot. Right. But so how does it blend? Our device uses our technology for smart blending uses a device called a concentrator, which intelligently manages each one of those connections. It can be in the cloud, it can be on your premises, depending on the security needs. We are going through FedRAMP process, so we're going to meet the highest standards throughout the United States. And what this concentrator does is it's looking at all those connections and then deciding on a packet by packet basis how to route your traffic through the most elegant source. So the question is really, what do you want to throw at it? We went to a recent location where let me get on the road. We went to a recent location where this is an annual event. It's a large group of people, and the law enforcement agency used to drop a DSL line in there, but they needed more data. So they actually took our device, put their modem, their DSL line into the device as a WAN, and blended it intelligently with all the other connections we were given. So the way our secret sauce, which is different than the failover, fail back, or the bonding that you see in some of these routers, is that we're using this concentrator to intelligently and smart blend all of those sources. What else you got for me, Scott?
I was just wondering if while you're driving there, would now, as you're speaking about it, be a good time to kind of bring up the Gateway UI, or do you want to wait a bit for that?
Sure, yeah, throw that up there. So
Yes. I'm
this
just going
is
to share, especially since you're
yeah,
driving now, we're seeing some good activity. So I'm just going to bring that up.
yeah.
Uh, so you can see this is me sharing my screen of the device that Dean has in his vehicle. And while he was sitting and talking, it was really just using the one cell at that time. But now the minute he started moving, there's obviously, if you imagine yourself in a vehicle driving and your cell maybe jumps in and out, it's moving from tower to tower. So that's really where the magic that you see of the blending is taking over, where we're moving between the two cells that are available and actually using them both here as he's on the move. And so I just wanted to show that. One of the things we'll do is we'll dive into this a little bit more in a follow-up after the demo, where we can kind of show you a bit of the behind the scenes here under the hood as well. But while you're moving, I just wanted to bring that up, Dean, but I can throw it back to you now if you're ready to go.
Yeah, sure. I'm just driving along there, bro.
So I did get another
You got another
question.
question? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty boring me just talking. So
So
find a
this one
question.
comes in saying that their UAS team is sometimes away from their vehicles where they've lost connectivity. So can the equipment be thrown into a backpack or something, or does it need to be inside of a vehicle?
Oh, so the unit that I honorably retired from in San Diego County, they use NGOs, which is another product. So the technology is the technology. So our form factor, we came out of the television industry initially 16 years ago now, and that form factor is an encoder built into a very portable device that usually has about a 2-hour battery life on it. So in San Diego County, the UAS team uses the NGO, and then that video streams back to a virtual server, which then goes into their video management system and distributes that throughout their entire network for any Leo or anybody on staff who has a department issued phone to watch that video in real time. So
Yeah, to add to that, Dean, as you're driving, like so you say, we have NGO products that are designed for that backpack scenario. And from a gateway perspective, we have different models that fit different use cases, but they could be installed in a vehicle. They could be set up in a more of a portable kit that you can take with you, or they can even be, in a fixed location type scenario. So we cover them all. And again,
all right.
another question
Yep, fire
saying,
away.
are there any solutions for manned as well as unmanned airborne systems? guess that could be things like helicopters potentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great question. Hey, let's just be upfront about what ground-based cellular is designed to do, right? Ground-based cellular is on the ground. Are people using our products in airborne platforms? They are. I personally would tell you that there are companies that we partner with that have cracked the code as far as RF goes. The radio, the RF portion of this to how to get that signal. I can tell you that, for instance, Albuquerque Police Department is using them, but it's not a primary system because I think what I would be, saying to you is that that's up in the air. It's way above those cellular towers. So the answer is I've seen it used. I think when you unleash this technology, you throw it out of the bottle, take the genie out of the bottle, it goes all everywhere, right? And so if you do have a specific question about that, please reach out to us afterwards. I'd rather get some more technical information about it to ensure that, I'm not just giving you a sales answer. Hey, at the end of the day, this is a opportunity for us to just talk a little bit about our product, but give you some ideas of how you might use it in the field. So
Yeah, that's great. And something else you kind of touched on here, but can you provide some examples of how it's been used in real world scenarios? What you're
sure.
doing now?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a deployment in Washington State with Central Pierce Fire Department. They're utilizing the 211 product, which is a 3SIM unit, and they're utilizing that for connectivity in all of their vehicles, including their battalion chief vehicles. And the difference in the battalion chief vehicles is they actually add a low Earth orbit satellite with a Kymeta antenna, and I believe OneWeb is their provider. So inside of those battalion chief vehicles, which are rolling on, any multiple alarm fires, they're betting on connectivity where they may have infrastructure that's damaged. And so that's why they added the Starlink terminals. But on all the other vehicles, and I'm just going to pull over for half a second, I'm trying to decide where I want to go. For all their other vehicles, like their ambulances, their squads, their paramedic units, or their fire apparatus, they're using a 211 with no other connection. And for those law enforcement in the room, you're going to see where I am now, so you're going to figure it out, right?
Your location's out there.
Yeah, here I am. Great spot to pull over, Dean. So in this application, they're using our gateways to provide biometrics on patients in the vehicle. Their future plan is to put video cameras inside of the actual ambulances so that when they're going real time to trauma centers or hospitals, the staff in the ER can actually look physically at the patient and start assessing what they might need to do. They have the chief there is very tech savvy. They're using sensors inside of their engines to detect how much water is in the vehicle, and that's being sent back on our device. And then they can automatically dispatch additional apparatus if they realize, like, let's say they don't have a fire hydrant, right? So they're now the water is getting low in the vehicle, and they need to dispatch more equipment. So that information can be coming back immediately. Public safety component. We've had several agencies that are installing these smaller devices in their vehicles to solve the body-worn camera challenge, right? The body-worn camera challenge is like, how do you get that information back to your management system, and how do you do that quickly? And part of the problem is that's a lot of video. So in the case of that video, if you dock that camera after you've finished a traffic citation, so you're charging it just a touch, all of a sudden, now that video is being transferred back to the records management system. So the value to that is that video can be there for your supervisor to review. What if there's an incident where you have a citizen complaint. Well, the old days, you used to call your Leo, ask them what the story was, and then you call the citizen and find out, what their side of it was, and you'd make, you'd make a call at that point. Now you call the Leo out of the field so that you can review the body worn camera video. Well, imagine if that video could be sent back while you're still in the field doing important stuff. So there's several agencies that are using it strictly for body worn camera. We're in a process right now where we're one of the contenders for the rollout of the body worn camera video for CBP. And so we've been out on boats in it's not a vacation in Puerto Rico, making sure that the agents there could upload their body worn camera. And I've been 10 feet from the border, making sure that the border of Mexico, making sure that that body worn camera video can get back to the locations. So those are some real time examples, real use cases.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Dean. And then I think you did sort of touch on this, but what's the difference between this blending with Dejero and other LTE radio gateways?
I would say the biggest difference is going to be the failover, failback component. So, Scott, am I allowed to name competitors?
Sure. I think everybody's pretty much
Can I use it
knows.
as a, okay.
I would consider them alternatives.
So,
yes.
So like a good example is a cradle point, typically, like even the cradle point, the IBR, which is a 2 SIM unit. There's a failover and a failback. So what that means is one SIM is active. Even when you hook up the antennas, you can read the documentation. It's like, oh, there's one primary and there's one secondary. So basically what that means is if you lose one connection, there's got to be a dial-up to create a connection to that other device. So what our major difference is if you lose a connection, which we have lost while we've been driving, I'm hoping that I've been on the whole time. I'm just sitting around driving and talking, but I can tell you I'm pretty confident that we haven't lost connectivity and that the whole time I've been driving, you've been able to hear me successfully. So that's the major difference.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and there's definitely looking back on as you've been moving around, the throughput on the connection has definitely changed, right? As you've gone through these different areas, but a lot of this is happening behind the scenes where it's switching between the available providers in real time. And so for us on this end, we don't see a disruption. But if you were to look into the data, you would see it, right? Using the different cells available in different ways at different times.
Yeah, I'm gonna get off the road here or get off at the next exit. I know we had sort of talked at the beginning of this presentation, and I'm looking at the time here. I know we just got 6 minutes left. I know we talked about trying to do like a speed test. So I do notice that I passed one tower. I just saw a tower. So my phone, my Verizon phone has 2 bars. So I'm just going to pull off on this exit up here, and I'll use the camera that I use for the drone, and I'll kind of point it at my phone, and we'll just do a quick speed test just to see what the speeds are in this area. So if you will bear with me, Scott, maybe you got a question. Yeah.
Yeah, just to kind of tie in there with what you were just saying about like this device, this Gateway 3220 that you're using is a two SIM, 2 carrier model. We do, of course, have one that's 3 and another that's 6. It's more, server rack design. But what would, a 3 carrier connection do differently than what we're experiencing right now with your two carrier version?
Well, I mean, look, it probably does something in the effect, in the sense of, a 3 carrier is going to in the United States, a 3 carrier is typically and Rory, I know you're on too, so maybe you throw in here. It's going to give you FirstNet if you're public safety. It's going to give you Hero, which is now that's T-Mobile, correct, Rory?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. And then the Verizon flavor of that. So you're going to have all three of the biggest networks to, you know, to provide service. So why is there a 6 unit? 6 units are put in mobile command centers, and a lot of that has to do with the ability to provide more throughput. So
Yeah. And then kind of along those lines, is there a limit to how many networks you can blend, and what do you recommend for connectivity on water?
kind of depends on how far out you are on water. I'm always answering these questions backwards.
That's all right.
On water, I would I would tell you that, like, for instance, there is a ship that is using our technology, and they're using a international SIM package, but they're also using 3 satellites, and our device blends that uh, perfectly. And then when they get close to the dock, um, they take advantage of the cellular that's along the water, right? Along the coast. For the CPP thing that we were doing, it was we had Verizon, we had T-Mobile, and we had FirstNet on board that 211 that was out. And to be fair, there are other islands. We were off the northeast side of Puerto Rico, so the drug corridor, and so we were we were near other islands, so we were able to utilize the cellular and didn't have to go to any Starlink or anything like that. So
Mhm. And the first part of that question was around, is there a limit to how many networks you can blend?
um, well, I mean, only in practicality on how many connections you have. So on the
Right.
bigger devices, like on our smaller devices, you could blend up to, let's see how many, you could probably blend four to 5 different WAN connections. So those WAN connections could be low Earth orbit satellite, they could be MiFi pucks. And then in the 2 SIM unit, there's 2 radios, right? So you could have 2 carriers. In a 3 SIM unit, you could have 3 carriers. But in theory, the answer is no, because you can blend uh, those 4 WANs. Those WANs could be 4 or 5 WANs. Those WANs could be connected in many different ways. So I would say the limit is the amount of radios in our devices. Oh, we
Right.
got 1 minute
Yeah.
left, so we better get to the
Yeah.
speed test, huh?
Yeah. Sure. I've got,
Let me,
go
you
ahead. Are
got
you
more?
going to do that now?
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna try. Can you see my phone? I'm having a
Yep.
little bit of, okay. So looks like my gray body worn camera here is freezing up a little bit. So I'm just gonna switch back to this other camera. That's a wireless camera. So I will go into my car camera here and show you my phone. Here's my phone. Now it's a little hard to see. I'm gonna just do a speed test. So we'll go out on a speed test here. I think I have my battery in my little portable phone from the drone is dying, so that's why I can't use that one. But we'll just do a speed test real quick. So it's finding a provider. When that turns green, I can hit go. Do that for you. So this is yeah, I know it's real hard to see, so I'm just gonna, this is off my cellular phone with Verizon. And that's the download, right? So what I think is sort of comical about that is that anybody can give you download. What's the upload is the most important thing if you're bringing it out of the car, right? So I'm waiting for the results here.
It's I don't know if you can answer a question while you're doing that, but I did have a couple of
Sure.
questions come in around audio.
Okay. So can you see those results? I can barely read them. One is,
0.86,
yeah,
59.
yeah. So that's a Verizon carrier out here. That's a single SIM,
Gotcha.
but that's not through the gateway, right? I'm pushing video, so I'm at least giving you 4 up to get this video to you. So
Gotcha.
go ahead with a question. I know we're running over. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think as long as the
Okay.
questions keep coming in and we've got a
Sure.
few minutes.
Sure.
So it says I cannot hear road noise with your voice audio, which is good. Is there filtering a standard feature
Well, I'm wearing a
where
microphone.
you're using? Okay,
So
you got
yeah, I'm
good.
using a lavalier microphone, right?
Gotcha.
So
And then regarding road noise filtering, is the voice audio on a separate non-Dejero feed?
no,
No.
this is all it's all being encoded and sent back. So, you know, I guess a simple way to look at this is that at the end of the day, it's all ones and zeros, right? So, oh, there's my light. One of my lights fell down. It's a real event that we're occurring here, right? Is like, so in Dejero, you know, language, we don't care what you want to send. That's why sort of our technology is great for what else do you want to throw at it? You know, we've been talking about video, like body worn camera and all that, but what about for instance, your CAD system, or what about like traffic alert systems that share you know, where your fire apparatus is on the road, or what about ALPR, you know, automatic license plate readers? How'd you like to have all of that be sending back? Those are all ones and zeros, right? So all of this is being transmitted to you via ones and zeros, packet by packet. Audio, video, everything else. I'm even watching some of the data, you know, on my system to, you know, to have an intelligent answer if you have a question about it. So I'm looking at that, you know, in a web user interface as well.
Right.
What else you got for me, sir?
Well, I think, we're a little bit over. No more questions are coming in right now, but I would, for everybody that's still with us, if you do think of questions afterwards, which can always happen, please feel free to reach out. We'll be sending out a follow-up email that you can always simply reply to with any other questions you have. And we'll be happy to answer them. Other than that, Dean, I think we're good. You kept it pretty much on schedule, which is a win.
I had to take out my chewing gum to keep us on schedule because I couldn't drive, talk,
Yeah. You had to
think
speed
about
right-
answering a question. So
had to speed up a
sorry, I'm
little
3
on the
minutes.
gas.
Sorry, I'm 3 minutes over. I appreciate your extra time. 4 minutes now. So nice meeting you all. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Dean. And we'll, like I say, we'll be sending out an email after. But thanks everyone for your time.